The United Nations Security Council has held an emergency meeting on the ongoing Israel-Hamas war. The meeting was requested by the United Arab Emirates. This, as the Arab representative of the UNSC, seeks a binding resolution for the humanitarian pause to the ongoing conflict in Gaza, where Israel continues with its relentless bombardment of the Palestinian people. The meeting called by the United Arab Emirates is the fifth meeting of the Council to address the situation since the militant group Hamas, remember, had carried out its biggest incursion on the 7th of October, and since then, Israel has bombed the Palestinian territory of Gaza for over 23 days and has resulted in more than 8,000 Palestinians getting killed and over 20,000 of these Palestinians sustaining serious injuries.
Last Friday, 121 countries, representing an overwhelming majority of the world, issued an unambiguous call for an immediate, durable and sustained humanitarian truce in Gaza. They stood up for the humanitarian imperative, for human rights, for international law, and most importantly, for the self-evident truth that Palestinian life is precious, equal, and deserving of the full protection of the law. We have heard many say that the 2.2 million Palestinians in Gaza are not Hamas, that this is not a war against them. And while these are welcome words, it is time that action reflected them.
Now, the United Nations General Assembly, remember, has already overwhelmingly voted for a humanitarian truce, but the United Nations General Assembly does not have the power to pass binding resolutions. The United Nations Security Council is, in fact, it does have that authority. Moreover, according to the United Nations, more than one border crossing is needed to deliver aid to the besieged Gaza Strip. And Karim Shalom, controlled by Israel, is the only one that is equipped to take in enough trucks. And trucks have been trickling into the Gaza Strip from Egypt for the past week via the Rafah border crossing, the main crossing that does not border Israel. And it has become a main point of aid delivery since Israel has imposed a complete siege of the Palestinian enclave. But remember, Israel has even bombed and continues to bomb the Rafah border crossing as well. The United Nations officials have repeatedly said that this is simply insufficient to the scale of the humanitarian catastrophe that at this moment the Gazan people are going through, where 2.3 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip have no access to food, water, electricity and fuel, and more than 1.4 million Gazans have in fact been rendered homeless by Israel's bombardment, which has been described as inhuman. And a lot of the times, the Israelis, though they claim that they're going after Hamas, the people who are paying the ultimate price are the civilians, and Israel continues to call this collateral damage.
More than one entry point into Gaza is indispensable if we are to make a difference. Karim Shalom between Israel and Gaza is the only crossing equipped to rapidly process a sufficiently large number of trucks.
And our correspondent Susan Tehrani has been tracking the story very closely for us from New York. Listening to the report that she sent in.
The war of words continued here at the United Nations Security Council on Monday after an emergency meeting was requested by the United Arab Emirates to be briefed on the humanitarian situation in Gaza as Israel's ground offensive continues in the Palestinian enclave. And while representatives from UN humanitarian agencies brief member states on the dire situation of residents in Gaza, member states like the United States and Russia traded barbs, notably after Russia accused the United States of fanning the flames of war in the Middle East. Meanwhile, some Arab countries called for a ceasefire. Israel made clear that a ceasefire would tie Israel's hands as well as keep Hamas rule in Gaza as well, something the Israeli delegation, notably the ambassador, said is unacceptable at this point in time. Also, the United States and Israel furious that council members can't agree to condemn Hamas for the October 7th attack against Israel. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.